It's over, and of course, follow the money. They're all at VSiN.com/store. And no judgment if you use them for something stronger than coffee.
Visit VSiNHotels.com for the best hotel rates at the most desirable destinations in the U.S. and beyond. New York City, Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, even Hawaii. And of course, right here in Las Vegas at the South Point Hotel and Casino, home of the VSiN studio. In fact, book your trip to Vegas through VSiNHotels.com and stop by the studio here at the tip of the Strip while in town. Uncle Brent and his guys in the desert will be here waiting. That's VSiNHotels.com for discounts of up to 30% off. As Brent Musburger always says, cash and tickets is what it's all about. And that's what PropSwap is all about, too. PropSwap.com is a new online marketplace where you could buy and sell sports betting tickets. Looking for a good deal on a futures bet? Search PropSwap's listings for a second chance on that ticket and complete the purchase with your credit card. If you have a bet that's also close to cashing, post the ticket to PropSwap and find a buyer to lock in that money before it's too late. Cash out, cash in, go to PropSwap.com or call 1-844-PropSwap to get started. Void where prohibited.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
This year's big addition to the Super Contest, that is our new Super Contest contest app. Those that are in the state of Nevada will be able to submit their weekly selections via the contest app and not having to make a trip each and every week into the Superbook. Well, for security reasons, we didn't want to be having the Super Contest on the betting app. So it's a separate app which will be only used for the Super Contest.
Well, because NBA GMs and people around it aren't the brightest guys. I mean, look at the contracts they give. That tells you what they're about. I mean,
good point.
That to me is the dumbest thing. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That is the dumbest thing that I have heard coming out of a draft since I don't know, one of those football players got asked about his mother years ago. Mm-hmm. I can't believe, like, I say all the time, like, Miles Plumlee was given 4 years, $52 million. That tells you all you need to know about NBA general managers and their assistants and everybody else. So,
a lot of these games can come down to penalty kicks. And I'm always curious that this never gets talked about more.
Overall, a penalty kick is converted, whether it's in-game or shootout, roughly 77-ish% of the time, about 3 out of 4, give or take, for the most part. And even some of the best players, or the people who take the most penalty kicks, like Messi, is roughly 77% for his career.
I believe you like the Blue Bombers in this spot. This line opened 2. It's gone up a point to 3 after Winnipeg looked like the clearly superior team, I think, a week ago.
Well, Montreal, if you're going to be backing Montreal, I have to warn all the listeners here that you are talking about a team that has, you're going in front of a 0-12 straight up an ATS run that the Montreal Alouettes are on going back to last season. That's how bad this organization has been, and not only on the field, but off the field as well.
Your search is over. You found Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on Sirius XM 204. Now listen up for Winformation.
Hop on board with VSiN's daily newsletter, sponsored by FootballContest.com, your most trusted proxy service and source for information on Las Vegas Football Contest. Now, here you go. You have 3 days left. This is great, because if you're going to get involved, sign up. Special deal for VSiN fans. Sign up before June 30th and get $50 off the service. Go to footballcontest.com/VSiN.
Follow the money steps onto the gridiron for NFL team previews. How does your team line up on the board?
The kick is away. The game is underway.
Mitch and Paul tell you who's going to the window.
Glorious!
And who's looking at their ticket like,
oh no! We suck again!
Get information. With Follow the Money.
Oh, what a fall from grace. The Seattle Seahawks win total 8. Odds to make the playoffs at the Westgate. Yes, plus 220. Plus 350 to win the division. 25-1 to win the NFC. 40-1 to win the Super Bowl. Last year, 9-7 straight up. 6-9-1 against the spread. 9-7 to the under. Look at this. They lost Sherman, Bennett, Averill, Richardson, Lane, Graham, Rawls, Wilson, Luke Wilson. Brandon Marshall may or may not make the team. They took Penny from San Diego State in the first round of the draft. Also acquired Fluker and Mingo. This is all you need to know. Russell Wilson had 586 rushing yards. Led the team, wasn't even close.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, what, year 3 or 4 now? Where the offensive line has been horrendous.
Well, I'm looking at Pro Football Focus rankings from last year. They had them pegged as the 27th offensive line in football.
Sure.
And you're right, so it's at least year 3 or 4 of this.
They also were +8 in turnover differential, which was top 10. So this guy's running for his life every play. He was Superman. Led the team in rushing, almost 4,000 yards passing, 34 touchdowns. Led the league.
Did, yeah.
9-7. Oh, boy. This. And I'll tell you, he's had a lot of success. But I like what Richard Sherman said going out the door, that this Pete Carroll stuff works in college, but after 4 years, I mean, it's the same message.
Yep.
The guys get sick of him. They tune him out.
Yep.
Definitely can see that.
The rah-rah message works. You're absolutely right, and I could totally see that. And now that's what. Look at all the losses now. Bennett, Sherman, Paul Richardson, no longer a target for Wilson. I know you ran on the list earlier, and Jimmy Graham. And what'd they do to replace Jimmy Graham? They took a blocking tight end in the draft.
You're right.
And for the first time since 2011, the D did not finish in the top 5 in points or yards allowed. So it was an awesome run, but their window has closed.
Good point. I left Richardson off that list, too, all the guys they lost, and I thought he was pretty good. Football Outsiders had the 23rd worst, 23rd ranked rushing offense, 10th ranked defense. But the sacks, no holes, running for his life, can't run the ball. Remember that game at home against the Rams? Oh! First down, run, nothing. Second down, sack. Third down, had to throw it away or a sack.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
right.
the whole first half when they got blown out in that game.
You know, beyond what we've even talked about now, the losses, we haven't even brought up yet. Earl Thomas, no show for the voluntary workouts. And what is the health? Where is Cam Chancellor going to be at in year 9? He has been banged up now, severely banged up for a while. And that is not good. So their window to win 2 Super Bowls, I mean, the fact that they could not repeat and they gave that away by not running the football to Marshawn Lynch against the Patriots, it's going to haunt that franchise forever.
You're right about the defense. I mean, if this is also with the elite defense going away, last season was the first time since 2011 they failed to finish in the top 5 in defense in terms of points and yards allowed. And all these guys leaving and getting older and changing, and you haven't really addressed the offensive line and the issues there. And I think, some people like Baldwin. I think Wilson makes all these guys. I don't think he has any. I don't think he has any weapons. I think Wilson's a star, and he's surrounded with mediocre talent.
Let me throw this at you, because if you want to go based on draft grades, I mean, people absolutely killed the pick of Penny in the first round, the running back from San Diego State.
Uh-huh.
What if everybody's wrong on him? What if he goes there and he's a 1,000-yard rusher?
Yeah, I think he's good, but
I think he's really good.
Yeah, but he's got to have some holes.
Correct. What if the offensive line actually
maybe
gets a little bit better and this guy's a force and every person is wrong about Penny going as a first-round pick? I mean, how many times, right, have media folks whiffed on draft picks? It happens every single year.
Well, I think they liked them. They just thought it was way too early.
Exactly the point I was going to say. Is like people weren't killing the pick or killing the talent. They were killing where they got him, because I think he was projected, 3rd round?
And I would come back and say, how many teams already regret not taking Kareem Hunt earlier than the 3rd round, and also Alvin Kamara.
Uh-huh.
So it works both ways. You can say that after 1 year. Maybe Penny goes there this year and he runs for 1,200 yards, has 9 touchdowns, and is awesome. I don't know. I would say that's unlikely, but the guy could be a star in the NFL.
That didn't give him attention. Your quarterback leads you in rushing yards with 586, and it's not even close? Yeah. That's embarrassing. That is flat out embarrassing. That head should roll for that.
Yeah, and there are still, here's the thing, and I'll tie this in, because there are still media folks today that rip Wilson, and they don't think he's very good. They think so much of his success has been based on the team that's been around him since he came into the league. So at this point, I say you have a personal agenda, and if you continue with that narrative, you're a complete moron.
Right. There are people who thought he should have been the MVP. Think about that. Not crazy.
I don't think you can argue that guy's talent. If you want to argue his personality, I'm all for it. He's become a huge jackass in recent years. But I mean, the talent. I mean, like to your guys' point on the offensive line, it's been a disaster. He's running for his life. He's had hurt ankles. He's playing injured every week.
Yeah, the guy's awesome. If you don't think so, go somewhere else. Stop talking about him beating a dead horse because you're an idiot. You sound like a complete fool. Look at the schedule. The 2018 numbers released from CG Technology in the first 16 weeks of the season. So they're a pick 'em 3 times. Now, the spread is between 1 and 3 points in 10 other games. They're getting 3.5 at San Francisco. The only game right now, the openers anyway, at CG Technology, that was higher than 3.5, was on the road, Week 10 against the Rams, and they are catching 7 at the Rams.
3 of the first 4 on the road. Yikes. Got to have a trip to London before the bye week. It's tough. It's a tough schedule. They have the 49ers, so Jimmy G hasn't lost a game. We'll do them tomorrow. You got to worry about the Rams. Green Bay's had their number, although they get them at home. They have a tough schedule. This is boy.
This will okay.
After what happened last year, they're going to go 9-7.
No, I don't think they're going to go 9-7. So this will tell you though again, not as good of a football team. Home field advantage might not be the same because of it. They're a 1.5 in Week 3 at home to Dallas. A couple years ago, they would have been 3.5 in that game. They are pick 'em versus the Chargers. Last year, 2 years ago, easily would have been a field goal. They're +1 versus Green Bay. Would have been favored before. They're -1 versus San Francisco at home. Well, that's the Jimmy Garoppolo thing. And they're +2 at home versus Minnesota. A few years ago, again, probably would have been laying a field goal in that game.
Boy, it is on then. Look at that. Look at November and on.
I know.
Chargers, Rams, Packers, Carolina, San Francisco, Minnesota, Niners again, Kansas City. Ooh.
And you said at the very beginning of this, they opened up 7.5, bet up to 8.
Strange.
I'm on the other side.
Yeah. I'm with you.
It's Follow the Money on SiriusXM 204, VSiN.com, and the VSiN app. Up next, sports bettor Mark Lawrence is going to join the show. We will preview the ACC in college football. How good is the Clemson defense now with everybody coming back?
More of Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard is on the way. But don't get left out on VSiN's new Point Spread Weekly. Find out more at VSiN.com.
Make VSiN your source for news on the future of sports betting. We'll tell you what the Supreme Court's historic ruling could mean to you, not just now, but in the weeks and months ahead. Stay tuned to VSiN because the court's announcement is just the beginning in this new enlightened era. You'll hear from the movers and shakers of the industry, find out what they have to say about the future of betting in your state and beyond. That's VSiN, changing the way you watch sports. You wake up in the morning and what do you need first? Mitch and Paulie, of course, followed quickly by your morning coffee. Well, wait till you see what we have for you in the VSiN store. That's right. VSiN coffee mugs are now available at VSiN.com/store. Some of your favorite VSiN slogans make their way onto what's short. Vegas flu, puck yeah, it's not under till it's over. And of course, follow the money. They're all at VSiN.com/store. And no judgment if you use them for something stronger than coffee.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
We will start accepting entries for this year's Super Contest and Super Contest Gold on July 1st. So it's only a little over a week away. And, we've made some changes to the Super Contest, and we had some additions to it as well. Last year, we paid the top 50 plus ties. This year, we're paying the top 100 plus the ties, with this year's winner getting 33% of the total pot versus 35% we saw last year.
And the second thing is, all things being equal, they want him out of the Western Conference because if anybody knows how good he is, they do.
Yeah.
And they don't want to play against them. And so you've got two teams in the East who can offer way more than the Lakers, the Clippers, or anybody else in the West can offer, and that's Philadelphia and Boston. Maybe not in that order. Maybe Boston has a little bit more pieces it can offer. It can offer, a Jaylen Brown, a Rozier, a draft pick. I mean, that's pretty enticing. I'm not sure what the Lakers can offer them that would compete with that.
there were a lot of us, those of our ilk, who really crush NFL draft props, and I don't think books are in any rush to put these out. But offshore, there is a handful.
But I really believe when it's all said and done and the dust settles, I think Trae Young ends up going top 6 simply because I think he's so explosive on offense. I think he's so unique. The shooting ability from long distance, his quickness is very special, and his teammates really did not support him, and I think that was the big issue second half of the year. So to me, Trae Young goes top 6. I think it's the star power is just way too much for these teams to pass on.
I just think Doncic has like the highest ceiling of anyone picked last night. And I see what you're saying about Matt about Trae Young, but I thought Jay Billis made a great point. Let's compare Trae Young now to Steph Curry's freshman year, not his junior year, the year he was drafted. Like, this is Trae Young as a freshman, so he can add size, he can learn to play better defense like Steph's worked incredibly hard on. But I just think it's a very ambitious pick to go for Trae Young when obviously he didn't, like, he could be Jimmer Fredette for all we know.
And we're back with more Follow the Money on Sirius XM 204. Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard have the mics for the information you need to win.
Time to preview the ACC in college football. Longtime sports bettor Mark Lawrence joins the show. Mark, good morning. Thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing terrific, guys. How you doing?
Doing really well. Let's begin with the team at the very top of this. They made the playoff again a season ago for the third time in the existence of the college football playoff. Their win total here is 11, Mark. Speaking of Clemson, on the over, it's even money. They are also even money to make the playoff. Everybody basically is back on defense. The D-line is going to be absolutely just amazing this year if everybody can stay healthy. I know they had Deshaun Watson, and they won a title with him. So minus the quarterback position, is it possible this is Dabo's best team yet at Clemson?
It might not even be minus the quarterback position. We don't know that yet because Kelly Bryant's not finished there. Mm-hmm. Trevor Lawrence is waiting in the wings behind him. But, you know, the bottom line is this is one of the most well-stacked football teams in college football this year. As you mentioned, all the depth on both sides of the football. They were so deep last year, they were one of only 4 teams that did not start a freshman throughout the course of the football season here. I like this team real well, and in fact, in what I think is going to be a down year for the ACC, I think Clemson will rise to the top and handle this league with no problem at all.
Well, this is Alabama territory here with this win total, Mark.
It is. You know, what's surprising about the win total is, look at the openers at the South Point when they opened. It was 9.5, and it was bet right up to 11. So a lot of people see what Clemson's bringing back here, and I think they also see maybe the fact that the ACC will be down a titch this football season here. Dabo Swinney's been doing what he needs to do. He's got no back-to-back road games here for the third straight year. And, in fact, if you look at all of Dabo Swinney's teams when he's been at Clemson and he's had no back-to-back road games, he's gone 35-8 in those games, or in those seasons. So, like I say, I think this is clear sailing for Clemson this year.
Is it down because of Florida State? I know Taggart takes over, but they have a difficult schedule, and they start week 1 against Virginia Tech. But what do you think? I know Francois got hurt, but after he got hurt last year, it was a disaster.
It was a disaster until they bailed out real late, salvaged the season, and had their 41st winning season in a row. That'll put a little bit of pressure on Taggart this year. Not only is he the only coach in the conference that has a losing record in his career, he's also coming in knowing that Notre Dame holds the all-time record for 42 consecutive winning seasons. So the pressure will be on Florida State to tie that record this year. And they have to do it against opponents that 10 of them had winning records last year. They've got the toughest schedule based on opponents' win-loss records last year this season here. I think it's all stacked up against Florida State. The pressure is on Willie Taggart this year.
The win total's 8 there. That seems high with all these tough road games. Miami, great year last year, surprised a lot of people. But the quarterback play was shaky, and they were a completely different team when they were on the road. They were 10, now down 9.5. They take on LSU to start the season. What do you think of the Hurricanes?
I think this is one of the teams that will be down noticeably this football season here. I'm down here in South Florida with Miami. The hire of Mark Richt was a terrific hire for this football program here, and it showed last year. But they benefited tremendously last year with turnovers. Remember the turnover chain?
Right.
And they were 5th in the country doing just that last year. Well, to have to depend on that year after year, is one story. It's a different story altogether. Sometimes teams like Frank Beamer's Virginia Tech teams get away with it, but I don't think you'll see that with Miami this year. The defensive line is going massive changes. They lost all of their starters on the defensive line, either to graduation or the NFL this football season here. And I'm not a big Malik Rozier fan, the quarterback. I think he's just adequate. I think he just fills the position for this football team. I think they're going to go back this year. They have 3 opponents on their schedule this year that will be playing them with a week of rest to get ready for Miami. So it'll be a tougher trek, I think, for the Hurricanes this year.
Okay, great note there. And actually, I'm surprised, Mark, that the opener here for their win total was 10. I think the bettors got this one right, way ahead of the curve on this one, because they bet it down. They grabbed the under on the 10, and now at the South Point, they're sitting at 9.5. I think the 10 was too big to open with.
I agree 100% with that. A lot of name and reputation here, and a lot of what people saw with Miami starting out undefeated last year until they really bottomed out. They finished the season with 3 straight losses, and I think that's the Miami football team we'll see more of this year.
The team with the 3rd highest win total in the conference is Virginia Tech. They took it down for a moment, although it appears, after it looked like he was going to be gone, that Jackson is going to survive and there won't be these academic issues. The star quarterback that they have, well, they've had some key losses already on defense. 8.5 under -140. They do get Miami at home later in the season, and as I mentioned, they start at Florida State.
This is the team that I think beats out Miami of Florida in their division here, Virginia Tech, this season here. And like you say, having Josh Jackson back is huge for this team. He threw for almost 3,000 yards last year as a freshman, the most by any FBS freshman in college football history. But what sets the table for this team is their defense. It's all Bud Foster. He's been there forever. They just aren't out-coached defensively, this football team here. This defensive line is terrific. They've got 58 combined starting games of experience on the defensive line here. This is a football team I think goes over the total and plays Clemson in the title game.
Okay, there you go. It's Follow the Money, Sirius XM 204, VSiN.com, and the VSiN app. So you're high on Vatech there. I think one of the reasons on the flip side here, another team why this conference is going to be down, we brought up Florida State already, but it has to be Louisville, right? I mean, and this is more. And Petrino's a good coach. Say what you want about him as a human being. Seems like he's a kind of a scumbag. But besides that, good football coach. No Lamar Jackson, but it's more than that, right? They lost out on a lot of players from last year.
Yeah, this team was beat up by defections last year. If you take a look, 2 players opted for the NFL. They have 10 starters that aren't back this year. A total of 12 players from the 2 deep are gone, and amongst all that is Lamar Jackson. Those are huge holes to have to fill for a football team, and I think you were awfully kind to Petrino in saying he's kind of a scumbag. I think kind of was a generous adjective about him. The bottom line here is we're going to find out whether he can coach it this year or not, and I don't believe he can. I've seen him have that deer in the headlights look many times throughout his career, and he survived because of the talent that he's had on hand. I just don't feel he has the talent this year.
It could get ugly week 1 when they get Alabama on a neutral. You know how Saban works these non-conference Power 5 games in week 1. He kills teams, Mark.
Oh, he does. I mean, he just eats them up. That's what his reputation's been all about, is running up the score back in the days when the score counted in the poll rankings. But he'll chew up the bad boys, and he'll struggle against the good teams, and there's a handful of good teams in this conference this year.
Do you have a sleeper and a bust in this league?
Well, if I'm talking about a sleeper team here this year, I'm going to look at the Pitt Panthers. It's a football team that's way under the radar here. Nobody's going to want to give them too much of a look, but I think what happened last year with this team is going to set the table for this football season here. You're talking about Pat Narduzzi, who was the defensive coordinator at Michigan State when he was hired. And it didn't work out for him so far at Pittsburgh, but he's got a ton of players coming back on defense this year, and they run the football exceptionally well this year. You're going to take on a soft non-conference schedule this football season here, and you look at Narduzzi, the 24 losses that he's had since he's been with Pittsburgh, 21 of them come against teams that were in a bowl game. I think he'll work on that. He'll improve those numbers and tip the scale the other way. I think Pitt's the surprise, and I think they'll go bowling this year.
Do you have a bust?
Well, the bust, if it's not Miami of Florida or Louisville, I think Wake Forest qualifies for the bust, if for no other reason the fact that it's a team that achieved something last year that they haven't done in a long time. And when you find teams that are perpetual losers that end up crossing on the other side of the line and winning and going to a bowl game, it's very, very difficult to do that again for 2 years in a row here. And if you take a look at the history of Dave Doran, the head coach, all of his success has come in the fourth year of every program that he's been at. Last year was that fourth year for Wake Forest. The fifth year has always been a step backwards for his football teams, and I think we'll see that with Wake Forest this year.
What happened to Boston College defense? That came out of nowhere. They couldn't stop anybody.
Unbelievable. It's a football team that was marshmallow offense, all about defense, and it was completely the other way around last year. They had an offense that improved over 100 yards a game. They have a running back, A.J. Dillon, who led the ACC in rushing last year, almost 1,600 yards. He was a big factor for that. But they're going to take on bowl teams in weeks 3 through 11, and that's going to be a little bit difficult for this football team this year. I know the total right now is with a question about whether it'll be a bowl team or not. I think it'll be a coin flip for this team. I think they were a little bit of an anomaly last year. Like you say, the defense disappeared, the offense suddenly appeared. I don't know if they can do that 2 years in a row.
They are your pick to go to the playoff, but at the Westgate, Clemson's even money to make the playoff. No value or still worth a shot?
Well, they were $1.20 plus 125 when everybody jumped on Clemson here, and I was reading where somebody made a huge play on Clemson to make the playoffs, and I can understand that reason why. But we have them pegged as the number one team in our poll in the Playbook Preview Guide magazine. I think they're going to not only go to the playoffs, I think they're the team to beat in the playoffs this year. This team is stacked; they're really loaded, and I love the recruiting job that Dabo Swinney does. I don't know if I ran this. We're talking about the seniors in this team. They're 20-3 straight up away from Death Valley. Since they've been playing football at Clemson here, they know how to win games away from home. Clemson, I make them to not only be the team to beat, I think they'll end up being the national champion.
Mark Lawrence, our guest. Follow the money. Paulie Howard, Mitch Moss, Sirius XM 204, VSiN, baby. Great job with the ACC. Do we have a pitcher or two who's unraveling here in the last couple weeks?
Well, I don't know so much about unraveling per se, but I'm going to make this statement here that last night we saw both Corey Kluber and Ross Stripling lose baseball games kind of surprisingly. And what's amazing is that if you look at Stripling and you look at Kluber's numbers here this year, Stripling pitched good. He went 5 innings and only gave up 1 run last night. Kluber got hammered. But the bottom line is there's no pitcher in baseball better than Corey Kluber when it comes to walk-to-strikeout ratio. And through yesterday, Corey Kluber for the season, 60.
XM204, VSiN.com, and the VSiN app. We'll get into Major League Baseball coming up next. Touch on today's card. Going back to yesterday, how about this? There was a pitcher who was more than a $2 favorite. He was making his 4th start. That's it. And he was awesome, and he cashed the ticket. That's coming up next.
Follow the Money continues with more great information right after this. And get information on our full program schedule over at VSiN.com.
Make VSiN your source for news on the future of sports betting. We'll tell you what the Supreme Court's historic ruling could mean to you, not just now, but in the weeks and months ahead. Stay tuned to VSiN because the court's announcement is just the beginning in this new enlightened era. You'll hear from the movers and shakers of the industry, find out what they have to say about the future of betting in your state and beyond. That's VSiN, changing the way you watch sports. You wake up in the morning and what do you need first? Mitch and Paulie, of course, followed quickly by your morning coffee. Well, wait till you see what we have for you in the VSiN store. That's right. VSiN coffee mugs are now available at VSiN.com/store. Some of your favorite VSiN slogans make their way onto what's sure to become your favorite mug. There's cash and tickets is what it's all about. Vegas flu, puck yeah. It's not under till it's over. And of course, follow the money. They're all at VSiN.com/store. And no judgment if you use them for something stronger than coffee.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
This year's big addition to the Super Contest, that is our new Super Contest contest app. Those that are in the state of Nevada will be able to submit their weekly selections via the contest app and not having to make a trip each and every week into the Superbook. Well, for security reasons, we didn't want to be having the Super Contest on the betting app. So it's a separate app which will be only used for the Super Contest.
Because NBA GMs and people around us aren't the brightest guys. I mean, look at the contracts they give. That tells you what they're about. I mean,
good point.
That to me is the dumbest thing. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That is the dumbest thing that I have heard coming out of a draft since I don't know, one of those football players got asked about his mother years ago. I can't believe, like, I say all the time, like, Miles Plumlee was given 4 years, $52 million. That tells you all you need to know about NBA general managers and their assistants and everybody else. So,
a lot of these games can come down to penalty kicks. And I'm always curious that this never gets talked about more.
Overall, a penalty kick is converted, whether it's in-game or shootout, roughly 77-ish% of the time, about 3 out of 4, give or take, for the most part. And even some of the best players, or the people who take the most penalty kicks, like Messi, is roughly 77% for his career.
I believe you like the Blue Bombers in this spot. This line opened 2. It's gone up a point to 3 after Winnipeg looked like the clearly superior team, I think, a week ago.
Well, Montreal, if you're going to be backing Montreal, I have to warn all the listeners here that you are talking about a team that has, you're going in front of a 0-12 straight up an ATS run that the Montreal Alouettes are on going back to last season. That's how bad this organization has been. And not only on the field, but off the field as well.
It's been between 2 and 3 minutes. You know what that means. It must be time for more Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on Sirius XM 204.
Talk to John Murray, manager over at the Westgate, coming up in 10 minutes. A lot to get into with him, including the release of Final Four numbers earlier this week.
Can I run this by you? France, Denmark, Peru, and Australia. 9 goals combined. Only 2 groups under the current format had fewer goals in the group stage. Group H in 2014 had 6.
6?
Yeah. 2010 there was a group with 8. Yeah, imagine that. The whole every game must have been 1-0. 6 goals in the entire group match. And they had
hold on.
They combined for 9 here. I think that was Group C. They combined for 9 goals.
What are there, 9 matches overall? So you must have had.
Jeez.
How many 0-0 draws were there in that match or in that group? All right, Major League Baseball. We were on the Cubs last night, so we had a common play winner here on the show.
Thank you, Baez.
The number was they were plus.
I didn't get
Lester plus $1.50.
And I told you something. I told you that Mississippi, that Arkansas-Oregon state line was so off. It was ridiculous. Didn't make any sense how they were such big dogs in Game 1 and big dogs to win the series. And they get Game 1 because it was Heimlich, whatever the kid's name is, who was roughed up in the first start for the Beavers. He was okay, but there was a big error, and then they only scored 1 run. I couldn't believe the respect Oregon State was getting.
Yeah, you should have given it out. Too bad you didn't.
I did. Well, again, they got rained out, and then there was miscommunication.
So. Oh, there was? Yeah. Huh. Let me guess. It was Reynolds' fault with the text message,
absolutely.
Like mine yesterday, too?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, that's your fault.
No accountability from you, Paul Howard.
That's right.
Okay, I think, the book's out on this guy. He went yesterday for the Brewers. This Peralta kid, he opened up around $2. When we started the show yesterday, he was already $2.15. Look at this, bet to $2.30. Paul, that was his 4th. A couple things here. He's really good. Royals are really freaking bad, as we all know. That was his 4th start. 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts. Kid was awesome again.
Mercy.
Yeah?
Royals, thanks for checking in. What a season.
Aguilar hit another home run. He has 17 now for the Brewers on the year. Yeah. I know that Chris Felic was tweeting about this. Good luck picking a Cy Young winner right now in the American League.
Mm-hmm.
Severino did it again. 6-0 shutout of the Phillies on the road. 7 strong, 6 hits, 9 strikeouts. To me, he is the leader in the clubhouse right now for the Cy Young Award. He would get the award.
Yep.
Jonathan Von Tobel, excellent tweet from the Edge. 16 starts now for Severino in 2018. 11-4-1 to the under. 6-0-1 to the under's last 7 games.
Johnny also had a good tweet about Verlander's last few home starts, laying huge prices, and they're getting beat. I don't know if you were tagged on this on Twitter. Apparently, this guy's requesting a game. Him and his buddies are in town. They want to play me in double dribble. So they want me to bring like the Nintendo and everything, but do they want to play for $5-10 grand? I don't know the guy. Do I bring a bodyguard? I could get robbed when I walk in. I mean, I don't know what the hell.
Don't carry the cash.
What am I gonna?
Venmo,
I don't
PayPal,
know the guy.
We'll get Maradona's bodyguard.
I mean, guy reached out. He goes, "Let's do this." What are we doing?
First of all, who has a machine?
I know. I don't have one. I know. Well, who am I going to call? John? That's another thing. They're staying in a hotel. What am I going to do? Go to GameStop? Okay.
No, go there by yourself. Don't tell anybody when you're going to go, and then I'm sure everything's going to be on the up and up. You'll be fine.
I know. It feels like I'm being set up here.
Yeah, carry the $5 with you. Yeah. Cold hard cash. Not going to be a problem. You'll walk out unscathed.
Guy's a ringer. Maybe the guy's practicing.
Paul, you haven't played in like 15 years. Can you go in fresh?
Yeah, riding a bike.
Hey, you had that confidence a few weeks
three.
ago.
Just the whole time?
What was that?
I said you had the confidence a few weeks ago.
Oh, absolutely. Riding a bike. Corner 3.
That's all it's going to take.
No doubt about it. Can't wait.
I hope this guy rigs it, though, so he gets Boston going left to right. Then you have no chance.
We got to we'll play that later in the show.
Got to tap out of this one.
Oh, that was great. Yeah. Family Guy.
One more from yesterday. Charlie Morton last night.
Yes.
He is in the mix.
It has to be.
7-0 win for the Astros.
Filthy. Ton of strikeouts.
He went 7, struck out 13. I don't know what the top 5 would be for the Cy Young, but Craig Mish was all over him a month or so ago.
The team record isn't that good, though, when he pitches, but I know, hard to ignore 10-1. 10-1, good ERA, and a lot of strikeouts. He had a little rough stretch in there.
A couple games. Look at Kluber last night. He got murdered.
Yeah.
By the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I got Morton at, I think, 25 or 30-1 per Craig Mish.
Yeah. Boy, what a year Jay Happ's having, too. Ooh.
Another one.
Wow.
Max Scherzer. How bad are the Nationals?
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yep, they can't hit. It's a disgrace.
His June has been like borderline phenomenal. They have, I think he has 1 win.
Yep.
He has 1 no decision and I think 3 losses.
Winless in his last 3.
John Murray next from the Westgate. They sent out UFC 226 odds yesterday, and terrific props on John Smoltz coming up.
If you still have a dial, don't touch it. Keep it right here on Sirius XM 204 for more Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard.
Visit VSiNHotels.com for the best and beyond. New York City, Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, even Hawaii. And, of course, right here in Las Vegas at the South Point Hotel and Casino, home of the VSiN Studio. In fact, book your trip to Vegas through VSiNHotels.com and stop by the studio here at the tip of the Strip while in town. Uncle Brent and his guys in the desert will be here waiting. That's VSiNHotels.com for discounts of up to 30% off. As Brent Musburger always says, cash and tickets is what it's all about. And that's what PropSwap is all about, too. PropSwap.com is a new online marketplace where you can buy and sell sports betting tickets. Looking for a good deal on a futures bet? Search PropSwap's listings for a second chance on that ticket and complete the purchase with your credit card. If you have a bet that's also close to cashing, post the ticket to PropSwap and find a buyer to lock in that money before it's too late. Cash out, cash in, go to PropSwap.com or call 1-844-PropSwap to get started. Void where prohibited.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
We will start accepting entries for this year's Super Contest and Super Contest Gold on July 1st. So it's only a little over a week away. And, we've made some changes to the Super Contest, and we had some additions to it as well. Last year, we paid the top 50 plus ties. This year, we're paying the top 100 plus the ties, with this year's winner getting 33% of the total pot versus 35% we saw last year.
And the second thing is, all things being equal, they want him out of the Western Conference because if anybody knows how good he is, they do.
Yeah.
And they don't want to play against them. And so you've got 2 teams in the East who can offer way more than the Lakers, the Clippers, or anybody else in the West can offer. And that's Philadelphia and Boston. Maybe not in that order. Maybe Boston has a little bit more pieces it can offer. It can offer, a Jaylen Brown, a Rozier, a draft pick. I mean, that's pretty enticing. I'm not sure what the Lakers can offer them that would compete with that.
There were a lot of us, those of our ilk, who really crush NFL draft props, and I don't think books are in any rush to put these out. But offshore, there is a handful.
But I really believe when it's all said and done, the dust settles. I think Trae Young ends up going top 6 simply because I think he's so explosive on offense. I think he's so unique. The shooting ability from long distance, his quickness is very special, and his teammates really did not support him, and I think that was the big issue second half of the year. So to me, Trae Young goes top 6. I think it's the star power is just way too much for these teams to pass on.
I just think Doncic has like the highest ceiling of anyone picked last night. And I see what you're saying about Matt about Trae Young, but I thought Jay Billis made a great point. Let's compare Trae Young now to Steph Curry's freshman year, not his junior year, the year he was drafted. Like, this is Trae Young as a freshman, so he can add size, he can learn to play better defense like Steph's worked incredibly hard on. But I just think it's a very ambitious pick to go for Trae Young when obviously he didn't, like, he could be Jimmer Fredette for all we know.
It's time to follow the money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard, only on the Vegas Stats and Information Network, Sirius XM Channel 204.
We are live in Las Vegas. Thanks for checking in from the tip of the strip, South Point Sportsbook. We'll head over to the Westgate now as John Murray joins us, manager over at the Superbook. John Boy, good morning. How are you?
Mitch, Paulie, what's going on this morning, boys?
Oh, it already sounds too early for you.
It is a little bit early here. What time is it right now? All I do is work now, Mitch. I don't know what day of the week it is, what time it is. I'm constantly working. I know we talked about it last week, how tough my job is, but if you want to get into that a little bit more, I'd be happy to.
Cornegay loved my tweet when I tagged him that when this is all done and you're going to need a vacation, right? Basically, you're going to go to his office, kick him out, and take that nap. He loved that.
Yeah, well, it's very accurate. Jay's actually out of town right now. He went to the Rockies-Giants series in San Francisco, and I've been spending a lot of time just Costanza-like, just hiding under his desk, just sleeping in that little nook there.
Sure.
It's been very nice.
It's a good move.
Yeah.
I like that out of you. All right, so you have been hard at work. You came up with all of the seriously, I mean.
Yep. Crown Royal for you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's on Paulie. But you came up with all these Final Four props. We've been asking for this for like 20 years. But we're not going to get credit for it, obviously. You gave credit on Twitter to some executive over at the Westgate. Who knows what happened? But nice job you put it up. It's so far away. Have you seen any bets at all on this yet since you came up with it?
The betting so far has been more on the football guys. I think people are more in a college football state of mind right now in June than they are thinking of college basketball. We haven't really seen a lot of action yet on the college basketball numbers. People are more focused on betting into those football ones for now.
Yeah. Well, come November, I think you're going to get so much handle on this. It's going to be incredible. I like some of the teams that I like, and you are huge in college basketball, but Tennessee is going to be a top 5 team. They return almost everybody, and you have them at 12-1 to make the Final Four.
Yeah, the Final Four number is really based off of the odds to win the championship. Tennessee is not a team that usually sees a lot of support in that pool. So... Plus, we're trying to bait some of you guys into coming down here and making some bets, Mitch. I mean, you guys were very critical of our operation, of me specifically last week. And we're trying to get some money out of you guys here. So, that 12-1, we hung that out there for you.
Who are the top mid-major teams that you had?
The top mid. Well, do you still consider Gonzaga a mid-major?
No, God no.
No, yeah, I don't consider them. I mean, Nevada has to be considered a mid-major, right? They're a team that. You guys know, obviously, they're going to get a lot of support this year. I saw some people told me they thought it was crazy that we had them at only 3-1 to make the Final Four, but they've got everybody back. They've got some good recruits coming in, and they're going to see some support. So that's why you see a low number there. And look, if we take money on some other teams and we're raising teams, Nevada will probably be one of the first teams we bump up a little bit.
Well, hey, hold on. On Nevada, we kicked this around the other day when you released the numbers. Paul and I went back and forth. I think best case scenario for Nevada would be a 2 seed. Can they actually get that high, you think, in the tournament?
Yeah, I think if they really ran through the Mountain West and they won the Mountain West tournament, 2 seed is probably their ceiling. I would have to agree with you on that. I don't see how they.
We
I
disagree.
don't think they get a 1 seed.
We disagree on that. I say 3 or 4 because the lack of respect for that league has gone down big time since BYU and others left. But fair enough.
It's a shame. It's a shame what's happened to the Mountain West the last 2 years. We can get into that on another show, but I know when I first moved out here, the Mountain West tournament was a huge event. And,
right.
And I've gone the last couple of years, and there's like nobody there. They don't even open the upper bowl. It's definitely sad what's happened to the Mountain West. So I can't disagree with you there, Paulie.
Can Lightning strike again? I think you have Loyola Chicago 100-1, and where are some other teams that you respect in these small conferences?
Loyola Chicago, I mean, could they really go back-to-back and go back to the Final Four? I don't think so, but people are going to probably take a flyer on that.
Yeah.
We got Wichita State at 10-1. Greg Marshall's always a guy I always say is one of the best coaches in college basketball. They're always dangerous, but they lost some good players off of this past season's team. And then we got the three favorites: Duke, Kansas, and Kentucky, all at plus 125. It's pretty wide open right now, guys. I don't think there's a clear favorite this year in college basketball. And I know we talked about it last week, but these long shot teams actually have a chance to make the Final Four in basketball, unlike in college football. And that's why we decided to do so many of these teams. And I think we're going to see action on a lot of them.
Great answer, and it's frustrating. I don't know why we didn't get a Central Florida and why people don't want to see that in college. It doesn't make any sense.
Do you think?
Go ahead.
Do you really think Central Florida could have competed against teams like Alabama and Clemson? Because we were getting asked for those lines last year around like November, December, that time, and they would have been a double-digit two touchdown underdog.
Yeah, they were, John, and they beat Auburn. It's called the Peach Bowl.
No, I know.
I watched it.
I know that, but it's not. Do you think that's the same thing?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here's SEC guy. Here we go. When the games are played, the results don't matter. I mean, of course, absolutely.
I just think basketball is different than football, and I think the basketball.
Why?
The teams have a much better chance.
Why? It's an asinine comment.
I don't think that it is. Football. All these big football programs have all these linemen that are going to be playing in the NFL. You can't recreate that at these small programs. I mean, could Central Florida win a game against Alabama or Clemson? Maybe, but I think they'd be a huge underdog.
Well, Utah beat Bama, and Boise State won every big game they played.
Yeah.
When Peterson was there.
Utah worked Bama. I remember that game.
Killed them.
I remember that game.
Killed them, absolutely. We're fascinated by the Laker future action. It just teeter-totter. It goes up, goes down, everything. It's crazy how you get taking big bets, and then there was something on the Cavs, and now some more money on the Lakers. What do you think is going to happen here in the next couple of weeks? And I think you'll finally a sigh of relief that it's over is once LeBron makes up his mind.
Yeah, I think we'll be happy when he does. I think he's going to go to the Lakers. If I had to bet on a team, I would bet on the Lakers. If he doesn't go to L.A., I think he'll just sign a one-year deal with Cleveland and stay there for another year, then evaluate the market again next summer.
And beyond. New York City, Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, even Hawaii, and of course, right here in Las Vegas at the South Point Hotel and Casino, home of the VSiN Studio. In fact, book your trip to Vegas through VSiNHotels.com and stop by the studio here at the tip of the Strip while in town. Uncle Brent and his guys in the desert will be here waiting. That's VSiNHotels.com for discounts of up to 30% off. As Brent Musburger always says, cash and tickets is what it's all about. And that's what PropSwap is all about, too. PropSwap.com is a new online marketplace where you can buy and sell sports betting tickets.
Although, soccer is not great. We haven't had a great response on the in-progress soccer guys because people like to just sit there and watch the game. They're not really running up to the window for the in-progress soccer. But we're going to give it a shot. There's some really good round of 16 matchups. And we're going to give that a shot this weekend.
Well, John, what about with the phone app though? With the In Progress, you guys actually dabbled last week at the Travelers in golf. How'd that do?
We did. It didn't do great. And if I can be serious for a second, I completely blame it on Jeff Sherman because he's got a huge social media following. He's very popular in the golf community.
Sure.
All he needed to do, Mitch and Paulie, was send out a tweet about the In Progress Travelers to his just legions of followers, and he just wouldn't do it. And he was sitting there gloating about the lack of handle that I was getting, and It was tense. It was almost as tense as our interview last week. It was a very tense morning here at the Westgate, I thought. But
tell Jeff to get to work. He's busy napping when you're on the air with us.
We're still at odds about it, to be honest with you. And I'm going to run it back this week with the Quicken Loans. But if Tiger Woods isn't in contention, I don't expect to see much of a response to it.
Well, he might be, though. Jeff says it's a horrendous field. I commend you guys, though. At least you're trying something new. I commend you. So full marks there. Yeah. What do you think the John Smoltz stuff will do?
We already took a pretty big bet yesterday from a house player on Smoltz on the cut, the -2,000, and we raised it up to -5,000. And we saw a little bit of money come in under 82.5, or I'm sorry, over 82.5 yesterday. Under 83.5. We lowered it to 82.5. Excuse me. So we have seen a little bit of money on the Smoltz props already. I've heard Smoltz is a hell of a golfer.
He is.
He's
but
great. He's
I
great.
don't know. I don't know how he can compete against these professionals on the Champions Tour, but definitely seen a little bit of interest in it, and it's definitely a good thing. One of our guys here, Eric Osterman, one of our managers, he handles the Senior Tour and the LPGA Tour. So it's good to see us getting some nice handle in those two pools. We're doing a lot of stuff here, fellas. There's no off season anymore in racing sports.
No, evidently not. So when you took that bet at -$20 on Smoltz not to make the cut, and you raised it to -50. What was the yes on that?
Right, it was 10-1. Now the yes is 15-1.
It is 15-1.
If you think Smoltzy might make it to might make the cut, make it to the weekend, come down to the Westgate.
What'd the guy lay, if I can ask? You authorized to answer?
I am authorized. It was a significant amount. It was into 5 figures. Now he's a well-known house player.
Right. So you're not authorized to answer.
Came in off the street.
You're not authorized.
I just asked Jeff, and he shot me a look. And it was a significant amount. I'll say that. Very significant.
Is he listening right now? Hey, hold on. Is he on another phone right now that's on mute?
No, he's listening in another room, and then when I come back, he's going to criticize the whole thing. But no, he's not. I'm not with him right now. But he's definitely listening to the show, and he's going to be very critical of my performance afterwards. But it's okay. It's how I raise the bar every week. It's how I get better. It's how I improve.
Well, what do you think of this? Because I loved hanging last Thursday with you.
Yeah.
Jeff, Charlie was down there, some others as well.
Oh, sure.
Watching the matches. I will be there in full force tomorrow again to watch, specifically England and Belgium. John, I'm going to be there probably around 9 o'clock. We'll knock out some beers. You're going to be there, I believe. Jeff's going to be there. Hard to believe that I'm going to tell you this, but Paulie's going to be a no-show tomorrow for the matches.
Well, you just mentioned Charlie Robbins, my good friend, very loyal VSiN listener. I told him, we're going to go to McMullen's and watch the soccer, and he said Paulie is going to flake. So Charlie said to me yesterday.
Uh-huh.
So no surprises here. And I was going to tell Paulie, don't buy me a bottle of Crown. Buy me some beers at the pub while I watch soccer, man.
Damn,
but,
much easier.
They're going to be people there?
For England, Belgium?
Yeah.
Of course there will.
No,
come
John.
on.
There's not.
I'm out.
Come on.
Nothing.
It's 11 a.m. on a Thursday. People have to work. They're not going to be there.
What are you normally doing at 11 a.m. on a Thursday? I'm usually at a pub drinking beer. You really don't think there's going to be people there?
And that's a cry for help, which means give me the couch. I'll take the couch any day of the week. Are you doing the hot dog thing? I know we weren't going to talk to you next week because you're off. You're going to go to UFC fight. Are you going to? Can book this hot dog stuff?
Same thing as the NBA draft thing. I haven't seen anything about that on gaming. I haven't seen that yet. If it gets approved, I don't know why we wouldn't just put it up.
That's got to get approved at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we could look into it for you guys.
I saw 72.5 at one spot.
Wow.
72.5 is that 72.5 HBDs, hot dog or HDBs, hot dogs and buns?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't looked at it at all. I do remember betting on the hot dog contest in my younger years, but I mean, we can look into it. What's Chestnut though? Is Chestnut like minus 1,000 to win the thing?
Huge, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
That's bad. That's bad for business. It's bad for business when one team, or in this case, Gurgitator, is that big of a favorite. So
I know they got to work this out with Kobayashi. The guy's a terrific athlete. It's appalling.
But didn't Chestnut come in and just kind of blow him out of the water, though, fellas? I mean, are we sure that...
They beat him one year, I think.
Do you think Kobayashi is just shook, and that's why he won't come back out here?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to face the music again.
I think it's very possible. I mean, that is a great event. I mean, we'll look into it for you guys. As if we don't have anything else going on, just the World Cup and Quicken Loans in progress wagering. But I'll take a look at the hot dog thing here.
We were dying for the in-play in Quicken Loans. Thank you for putting that up. I can't wait to bet that. So, yeah, you are going to be off next Wednesday. We're going to miss you. It's July 4th, a week from today. But you are on vacation. You're going to go to the UFC, the event next week, the 226?
Yeah, I'm going to be at 226 next Saturday night, and it should be one of the better events of the year. And we've already seen a lot of handle on it, guys. We've already seen a lot of money come in. Oh, yeah, we've seen a lot of money come in on the main event on both Cormier and Miocic. And then in the co-main event, we've seen a lot of money come in on Brian Ortega, T-City, the underdog. Seeing that price come way down. Max Holloway opened in the -$2 range, and right now we've got him at -145. A lot of money on Ortega in the co-main event.
You like anybody?
I think Ortega, I mean, the price is kind of gone now. The good price is gone, but I see why it was some sharper guys that were betting on him, and I can see why. Ortega, very impressive first-round knockout of Frankie Edgar in March. He's never lost. Max Holloway, he's a great fighter, too. I don't think he's lost in about 5 years. He lost to Conor McGregor about 5 years ago, but that's a great fight, and I can see why the sharp money came in on the dog at that very high price.
All right, got a little testy last week. This was a solid appearance. You're way off on your college football underdog take, but great job putting that stuff together. Thanks for coming on.
Paulie, it all started when Mitch called me the Dwight Howard of the managers here. That put me on my heels. I never recovered from that.
Today's
that comment.
Today's spot is a B+. If Jeff gives you anything less than that, he's on drugs, okay?
All right, I appreciate it, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yep, there you go. John Murray, at Vegas Murray on Twitter. Sharp guy.
Yeah, sure. I think it's the 4th time he's been on. Maybe by the 5th time I'll pick up his speech pattern. Likes to start and stop. He gets me every time. He's excellent. But, yeah, the Central Florida thing.
Another show sometime down the road.
I don't get
Closer to college football.
Was I hanging out with Maradona? I thought one book put that hot dog thing up.
No, I don't think in town. No,
not allowed.
No.
Isn't it easy because ESPN has the tracker?
I haven't seen that come
That's
up
just globally.
around town, yeah.
In any event, globally, I saw 68.5 and 72.5.
I'd go over 68.5, 72.5, though.
What's the record? Wow. Reynolds will look at that. I mean, you're in record territory there. I don't know. I'd love
last year I think he sailed over 70.
He did?
Yeah. I'm almost positive. I think he set the record last year.
I can't believe
2 years ago on July 4th, we did those hot links, the mini hot dogs or whatever they're called.
Von Tobel tapped out early.
No, those were the real deal.
Oh, I know the real ones. You went.
We put a 90-second. I did it with 2 other guys on the air. We put a 90-second time limit on it. The first guy did 12 in 90 seconds. The mini hot. What are those called? You know what I'm talking about. The mini hot dogs.
Weenie dogs?
No, the
cocktail weenie.
Whatever. Yeah, cocktail
weenies.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha.
He said he's eating them with a fork and taking his time. He did 12 in 90 seconds. He had to tap out. He had 25 on the plate. I got him out in a minute.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You're a warrior.
I'm a fast eater, but it catches up with me, and then it's done for 3 hours after that.
Last year, 27 Nathan's hot dog eating contest, Joey Chestnut won his 10th title with 72 hot dogs and buns, a 4th of July contest record.
Yeah.
That was a good line then. He did.
No, I think you can middle it. I think you go over the 68, under the 72.5, and it's right in there you go. You hit them both.
That female was something, too. That female was terrific. It's like 5'2", 90 pounds, the female who won it. She's from Vegas.
Talking about Mickey Sudo, who ate 41 hot dogs.
There it is. Yeah. She's petite, and she just ran right through it.
I'll be honest. I love the event. It's a tough watch.
It's a tough watch.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Well, that's all about the entrances.
I mean, but
the intro, you got the music and the intro.
Yeah, but then
we'll do that Wednesday. That's the best part of this. You bring up their resume and all the records they have.
Yeah.
Because some people are experts in a particular food, whatever it is, like dessert,
like
shrimp.
one guy could do a bunch of ziti.
Right.
Pot stickers, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yes. I could probably do. I could do 100 Chick-fil-A grilled nuggets in probably 5 minutes.
Can't wait to do this Wednesday. We'll run it all down. These records that they have. Meatballs.
How about the sodium
lasagna.
Intake on some of this stuff?
Yeah.
Heart attack waiting to happen. Man. All right, follow the money, SiriusXM 204, VSiN.com, and the VSiN app. We'll get into win some, lose some coming up next. And terrific audio from Brian Windhorst on ESPN, and awful audio from Magic Johnson.
More of Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard is on the way. But don't get left out on VSiN's new Point Spread Weekly. Find out more at VSiN.com.
Everybody have a great day. Everybody stay comfortable.
Wouldn't it be great if the only problem with your office chair is that you never want to get up? X-Chair featuring dynamic variable lumbar support. See the difference, feel the difference.
You wake up in the morning and what do you need first? Mitch and Paulie, of course, followed quickly by your morning coffee. Well, wait till you see what we have for you in the VSiN store. That's right. VSiN coffee mugs are now available at VSiN.com/store. Some of your favorite VSiN slogans make their way onto what's sure to become your favorite mug. There's cash and tickets is what it's all about. Vegas flu, puck yeah. It's not under till it's over. And of course, follow the money. They're all at VSiN.com/store. And no judgment if you use them for something stronger than coffee.
Visit VSiNHotels.com for the best hotel rates at the most desirable destinations in the U.S. and beyond. New York City, Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, even Hawaii. And of course, right here in Las Vegas at the South Point Hotel and Casino, home of the VSiN studio. In fact, book your trip to Vegas through VSiNHotels.com and stop by the studio here at the tip of the Strip while in town. Uncle Brent and his guys in the desert will be here waiting. That's VSiNHotels.com for discounts of up to 30% off. As Brent Musburger always says, cash and tickets is what it's all about. And that's what PropSwap is all about, too. PropSwap.com is a new online marketplace where you can buy and sell sports betting tickets. Looking for a good deal on a futures bet? Search PropSwap's listings for a second chance on that ticket and complete the purchase with your credit card. If you have a bet that's so close to cashing, post the ticket to PropSwap and find a buyer to lock in that money before it's too late. Cash out, cash in, go to PropSwap.com or call 1-844-PropSwap to get started. Void where prohibited.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
This year's big addition to the Super Contest, that is our new Super Contest contest app. Those that are in the state of Nevada will be able to submit their weekly selections via the contest app and not having to make a trip each and every week into the Superbook. Well, for security reasons, we didn't want to be having the Super Contest on the betting app. So it's a separate app which will be only used for the Super Contest.
Well, because NBA GMs and people around us aren't the brightest guys. I mean, look at the contracts they give. That tells you what they're about. I mean,
good point.
That to me is the dumbest thing. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That is the dumbest thing that I have heard coming out of a draft since I don't know, one of those football players got asked about his mother years ago. I can't believe, like, I say all the time, like, Miles Plumlee was given 4 years, $52 million. That tells you all you need to know about NBA general managers and their assistants and everybody else. So,
a lot of these games can come down to penalty kicks. And I'm always curious that this never gets talked about more.
Overall, a penalty kick is converted, whether it's in-game or shootout, roughly 77-ish% of the time, about 3 out of 4, give or take, for the most part. And even some of the best players, or the people who take the most penalty kicks, like Messi, is roughly 77% for his career.
I believe you like the Blue Bombers in this spot. This line opened 2. It's gone up a point to 3 after Winnipeg looked like the clearly superior team, I think, a week ago.
Well, Montreal, if you're going to be backing Montreal, I have to warn all the listeners here that you are talking about a team that has, you're going in front of a 0-12 straight up an ATS run that the Montreal Alouettes are on going back to last season. That's how bad this organization has been, and not only on the field, but off the field as well.
Your search is over. You found Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on Sirius XM 204. Now listen up for Winformation.
Feeling good on a Wednesday, live in Vegas from the tip of the strip. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard. We're on Twitter at VSiNLive, at Mitch Moss Radio, and at Paulie Howard.
Rough night?
Le who? The her.
Good night?
Winner, chicken dinner.
How does it make you feel?
It doesn't matter how it makes you feel.
Follow the Money looks back so we can learn for today. Win some, lose some. Let the education commence.
Bad beats in a second, baby. You notice how they're switching the machines out here? They move the hot rod up
almost
and everything.
every day, yeah.
Interesting. Hot rod's now right there. A friend of ours used to play that every day and have a lot of success.
I know that this progressive machine popped again last night overnight.
I know. It's a big one. Bob Dancer on Friday to go through that. That'll be a fun discussion. Also was on Jeopardy. Who knew? He's had some great stories. Argentina, Nigeria under 2.5 in the draw plus 350. Again, a goal in the 86th minute, but Nigeria just needed the draw. Park the bus.
Yeah.
5-6 minutes, you got it. You advance. Right. But no, Argentina, goal. 86th minute, they win 2-1, and they're through. Tough one.
Oh,
I
tweeted out the call, by the way. I think it was on Univision.
Yeah, it was great.
Wow. How that guy can actually...
Total pandemonium.
I passed out listening to it. How do you... Yeah. The guy went on for like 90...
So did Maradona. He passed out, too. Everyone.
Right?
It was contagious. Nigeria. Did you think that could have been a PK there? Give them another one?
Yeah. It was debatable for sure.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Croatia. Iceland draw plus 230, under 2. Stoppage time. There's another one. Croatia, 90th minute. They win 2-1. And a tough one for the Bear. Chris Felic and others. Vicious beat. Peru. Group points. Total points. 3.5.
3.5.
3. Denmark. Dominated. Missed the net. Missed the goal on a PK. And Denmark was a man down, and they lost 1-0.
Yeah.
All they needed was a draw.
Like total domination.
Terrible.
And they lost the game.
Ugh. Bad for the books. Diamondbacks, Marlins under 8.5 down to 8, 5-3 final. Seattle, Baltimore under 8.5 down to 8, 3-2 final. Paxton solid again. Giants 127 up to 142 beat the Rockies, who are reeling 3-2. KC, Milwaukee under 8.5 down to 8, 5-1 final. Denmark, France under 2, $1.30 to South Point, 0-0. Nigel got him plus 550. Not a good result there, as everyone thought it was going to be a low scoring and maybe a 0-0 draw, which also leads to lose some. Tough if you bet this. Goal to be scored in every group match, 40-1. Ladbrokes tweeted out it would have been a disaster. They would have lost £5 million. Here's the tweet. Jason Logan. Will there be a goal in every group game? 40-1 was the average industry price for the prop. And until yesterday, we didn't have a 0-0. It was just a group stage. We shot ourselves in the foot, said Ladbrokes, and they were down and out. There's only a couple matches left, but they got it.
That's incredible.
They got the 0-0 finally.
But great job putting that prop up.
Sure.
They'll learn from this. They're not going to offer 40-1. I don't think again,
price.
But yeah,
bad
sure,
price.
right.
That was something. And you could tell early on. And great call from Nigel. What a way to start the New York Post. As Nigel Nick Seeley has draw, under, and 0-0. All cash with his first article in the Post on the France match.
It's tough for anybody to handicap a match better than he did with that one.
Right.
He nailed it across the board.
Rangers $1.02 up to 133, lost 3-2. Angels plus 177 down to 150. Lost at Boston 9-1. I understand the move there. That's win-lose. Now, Brian Windhorst does a great job. ESPN, NBA expert, NBA analyst, was on VSiN yesterday. And maybe somebody knows something here. Because the other day at the Westgate, somebody put 4,500 on the Lakers at 12-1. So maybe they know something about LeBron. But he was asked about what he said on the Zach Lowe podcast. He's got LeBron 51% to go to L.A., 40% to the Cavs, 9% to the Sixers. He threw in the 1% field, which would be San Antonio, Houston, or Miami. But he was asked about, he thinks LeBron, the signs are there that he's leaving Cleveland.
I don't know, I'm going to say 11 months. And I see a team that's getting ready to move on without him, especially their behavior on draft night, where they drafted a guy who is a nice prospect. There's a lot to like about Colin Sexton. doesn't fit playing alongside LeBron James. And then they came out that night, their general manager, Kobe Altman, and he said, we're getting back into the player development business. And I was like, well,
wow.
LeBron James isn't in the player development business. He's in the championship business. So as soon as they traded Kyrie Irving essentially for a draft pick, I know there were other players in that deal that could help them short term. They didn't help them short term. But essentially that trade was made for that draft pick. As soon as they did that, they began preparing for life after LeBron James. Now, maybe that's smart. Maybe that's diligent protection of the franchise, and maybe that's all good. To me, there probably will not be another player like LeBron to play in Cleveland for 50 years. I would sell my soul for year after year to continue to get another year with him.
You buying that? He really knows LeBron and the Cavs. The signs were there. Player development stage.
Retroactively, I think it's easy to say that.
Okay.
Again, I think when we talked about this earlier in the show, I think the conversation here between the two of us and Reynolds made a lot of sense then, and it was they were trying to set themselves up best case scenario both ways by getting that pick, trading Kyrie, and they actually got Isaiah Thomas and a pick that could have been, by the way, could have been much higher than number 8.
Yep.
But it happened to fall at number 8 to get a really good player, and I think that could work both ways.
Number 2, Brian Windhorst on VSiN yesterday. If championships are so important, why is he considering L.A.?
You know, you could make the argument that he should team up with Giannis Antetokounmpo, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see his family with a 13 and 11-year-old ready to move to Milwaukee. No offense to Milwaukee. I'm from Cleveland. I'm not throwing stones. I'm just saying I don't see that. So that narrows the list right there. And I think when it comes to winning, I think you're right. I think that there's not a situation that he can look at and say, this is it. This is the spot I want to be, and this is where we're going to win championships. So because he doesn't have that, what he's got to do is bet on the future. And if you're choosing between Cleveland and L.A., whose future do you believe in better? The team that is sort of capped out with limited young players, they've traded away some future draft picks, or the team that has some young players, has cap space, and has not traded away any future draft picks. And you're also gambling on the city of Los Angeles being a draw. And I think Cleveland's in the game, but I think LA is in the lead.
All right. Believe it or not, LA is a gamble. Who knows if it's a draw? It hasn't been a draw for quite some time.
Long time.
They needed a do-over with LaMarcus Aldridge. Their pitch was so bad. And couldn't even get Kevin Durant wouldn't even return a phone call.
The Aldridge stuff, he talked to his agent. He's like, they're talking to me about Hollywood and movies, and I don't. That's not me. Basically, I don't care. I want to. If I'm going to come here, I want to play basketball.
This was good. Another good answer for Brian Windhorst. He was asked about LeBron's hand injury and why didn't the NBA disclose that? The poor job, and he was asked about that.
They weren't really practicing because they were using the off days for rest. I mean, they were sort of going out there and dribbling around. But there is no established threshold. And this is one of the things, forget about the integrity fee. If the NBA wants to participate and be a real solid member, they're going to have to be more transparent with injuries. Now, it took the NFL a long time to, to figure out a system that was somewhat acceptable transparency-wise. And even now, like the way the Patriots handle Tom Brady, it is not a perfect system. But the NBA is a league that has gotten away with lying about injuries for a very long time. In fact, the lying has increased in the last year because the league threatened teams with fines if they had healthy scratches with players. And so basically all of a sudden you started seeing players pop up with quote-unquote knee soreness or knee tendonitis, and they're missing games when they actually weren't missing games because of injury.
Got to change it, though.
That was bad.
Yep, it was really
People
bad.
were furious.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have your hand out if you're going to let that type of shit go on.
I love the Jimmy Vaccaro rant the Monday after the finals.
Oh, God, yeah. He's right. Imagine if the line moved the other direction.
Right?
Sure.
So that was terrific insight from Brian Windhorst yesterday. This is the exact opposite.
You'd be furious.
If I'm a
that
Lakers
line moved
fan,
big time. All that money came in on the Cavs, and the best players got a broken hand, allegedly.
And I'm not a Lakers fan.
Beat up hand.
If I were a Lakers fan, I would have been furious when I heard Magic Johnson say this yesterday.
no pressure on me. I mean, I'm gonna do my job. I've always done that. Look, I've been playing in, you know how many finals I've been in? So you think I'm worried about this? I played against Larry Bird in the finals. I mean, come on, man. I've been in 9 finals. You know, I've been in college NCAA championship.
Yeah,
you know?
this is a different job.
I'm Magic Johnson. I'm still the same dude. I'm not gonna change. There's no pressure on me. I'm gonna do my job. That's what I do. I do my job.
Who knows? He could get LeBron. I absolutely hated that answer. I'm Magic Johnson. Paul, you've been in radio for, 18 years? Does that make you Marconi? Give me a break. I'm Magic Johnson. I played in the finals back in the 80s. I know what I'm doing. Run down the list again here.
Broadcaster, talk show host, head coach. There was something else in there, too. Where,
Did you say talk show host in there?
Yeah, I got it. Also, you just look at his tweets when he was working in the media. And his tweets as far as, oh, this guy's going to be great. You can't miss. All his tweets about putting a team together and what he thinks was the right move. Head coach, another one, quit. Couldn't do it. Can't relate to today's players was the quote.
That was 20-plus years ago.
Right.
Okay, sure. But you can now?
And that he got
totally same world now.
The only reason he got the job because of one of the all-time greats. Yeah. He has to go. If he's swing. I love how he's moving the goalpost, too. Well, it's this year and next year.
And next year all of a sudden. Oh, 2019 now, which has never been a part of the plan, but now it is? Okay. You got it, Magic. Incredible. I cannot believe he said that. Everything's going to be fine. Come on.
Well, he's right, too. I mean, if they can't get anybody this year or next year, he better quit. Genie doesn't have to fire him. That's it. Do it for her.
All right, let's follow the money on SiriusXM 204, VSiN.com, and the VSiN app. We'll get into today's World Cup matches next. We'll run down the best case, worst case scenarios for some of these clubs, teams, and also give you Nigel's favorite play coming up next.
Follow the Money continues with more great information right after this. And get information on our full program schedule over at VSiN.com.
Make VSiN your source for news on the future of sports betting in the weeks and months ahead. Stay tuned to VSiN because the court's announcement is just the beginning in this new enlightened era. You'll hear from the movers and shakers of the industry, find out what they have to say about the future of betting in your state and beyond. That's VSiN, changing the way you watch sports. You wake up in the morning and what do you need first? Mitch and Paulie, of course, followed quickly by your morning coffee. Well, wait till you see what we have for you in the VSiN store. That's right. VSiN coffee mugs are now available at VSiN.com/store. Some of your favorite VSiN slogans make their way onto what's sure to become your favorite mug. There's cash and tickets is what it's all about. Vegas flu, puck yeah. It's not under till it's over. And of course, follow the money. They're all at VSiN.com/store. And no judgment if you use them for something stronger than coffee.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
We will start accepting entries for this year's Super Contest and Super Contest Gold on July 1st. So it's only a little over a week away. And, we've made some changes to the Super Contest, and we had some additions to it as well. Last year, we paid the top 50 plus ties. This year, we're paying the top 100 plus the ties, with this year's winner getting 33% of the total pot versus 35% we saw last year.
And the second thing is, all things being equal, they want him out of the Western Conference because if anybody knows how good he is, they do.
Yeah.
And they don't want to play against them. And so you've got two teams in the East who can offer way more than the Lakers, the Clippers, or anybody else in the West can offer, and that's Philadelphia and Boston. Maybe not in that order. Maybe Boston has a little bit more pieces it can offer. It can offer, a Jaylen Brown, a Rozier, a draft pick. I mean, that's pretty enticing. I'm not sure what the Lakers can offer them that would compete with that.
There were a lot of us, those of our ilk, who really crush NFL draft props, and I don't think books are in any rush to put these out. But offshore, there is a handful.
But I really believe when it's all said and done, the dust settles. I think Trae Young ends up going top 6 simply because I think he's so explosive on offense. I think he's so unique. The shooting ability from long distance, his quickness is very special, and his teammates really did not support him, and I think that was the big issue second half of the year. So to me, Trae Young goes top 6. I think it's the star power is just way too much for these teams to pass on.
I just think Doncic has like the highest ceiling of anyone picked last night. And I see what you're saying about Matt about Trae Young, but I thought Jay Billis made a great point. Let's compare Trae Young now to Steph Curry's freshman year, not his junior year, the year he was drafted. Like, this is Trae Young as a freshman, so he can add size, he can learn to play better defense like Steph worked incredibly hard on. But I just think it's a very ambitious pick to go for Trae Young when obviously he didn't, like, he could be Jimmer Fredette for all we know.
And we're back with more Follow the Money on Sirius XM 204. Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard have the mics for the information you need to win.
So we talked to the red-hot Nigel Seeley in the first hour of today's program. You'll catch that on the replay coming up around 9:30 Pacific time, 12:30 Eastern.
70-cent move on Germany in the last few minutes at William Hill.
Is that right? They were 580-ish.
Yeah,
now they're
650.
Okay. His favorite play is Germany minus the goal and a half today. Nigel's. Likes him a lot.
Bookings over as well in that was Brazil match, 3.5.
Correct.
He liked 4.5. He didn't want it. 3.5's over minus 145.
He explained he wanted the
William
plus money
Hill.
if he could find 4.5. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So there's no way to get to the 6th or 7th tiebreakers, but there's potential for mind-twisting tiebreaker calculations. The only simple part: Mexico tops the group with a win or a draw. And if it does, Germany advances as runner-up with either a win or a draw unless both games are draw, and Mexico-Sweden features more goals. If Sweden and Germany both win, we have a 3-way tie at 6 points. In that scenario, Sweden advances no matter what. If either wins by multiple goals, they're both through and Mexico's out. I mean, imagine, they've been the talk of the town here, and they haven't even advanced. The only way Mexico can come out on the right end of a 3-way tie is if both games are decided by 1 goal and Mexico scores at least as many goals in defeat as Germany does in victory. The other possible 3-way tie is on 3 points if both Sweden and Germany lose.
But Mexico advances with a simple draw.
Yeah. The worst case for Mexico, a loss to Sweden and a Germany win. And then ties are settled first by goal difference in the group, then by total goals scored, then by the number of points scored in matches between the tied teams. A loss to Sweden by any score would ensure that Sweden finishes ahead of Mexico on a tiebreaker. It's possible Mexico could survive a 1-goal loss to Sweden if Germany only manages a 1-goal win over South Korea. The worst-case scenario for Germany, a second-place finish in the group, could likely mean a round of 16 match with Brazil. Beats elimination, though. A loss against South Korea would eliminate Germany. A draw against South Korea would eliminate Germany if Sweden beats Mexico. A draw would be enough for Germany if Sweden draws with Mexico and scores an equal or lesser amounts of goals as Germany in the game. The intrigue in Group E is that teams will know Group F results by the time they kick off today. There's a good chance the reward for winning the group will be a matchup with Germany if the reigning champs finish second.
Mm-hmm.
The runner-up in E could get Mexico or Sweden. And on that note, Switzerland can guarantee the runner-up spot, no better, no worse, with a draw against already eliminated, god-awful Costa Rica. That seems like a gift, though, still at $1.30, no? Although you could say, let's just get... Jeez, that's hard, though. Do you say they're so, we can park the bus, we're okay. Once we get in the 60th minute, let's get the draw? I mean, that's right. Brazil and Switzerland each advance with a draw. If both draw, Brazil would top the group. Serbia most likely needs a win. In case of a draw, it would need the Swiss to lose, and likely by multiple goals. Swiss has a slim goals scored and differential advantage, and also the head-to-head tiebreaker. If Brazil beats Serbia, that confirms Brazil and Switzerland as the 2 qualifiers. Also, as Chris Felica pointed out, Neymar, he's got a yellow. Some other guys have some yellow.
3 guys overall, I think, have yellow cards.
Yeah.
So if they get another one, watch out there.
He said Nigel said it's going to be testy.
All right. And I see some movement on this, too, from William Hill. So the total bookings in the Brazil-Serbia match, as Nigel pointed out, he liked the over 4.5 if you could find it at plus money. Well, they opened it up at 3.5 minus $1.45.
Oh, someone's listening.
They have now moved it to 4.5 plus $1.05 on the over.
You're kidding.
Nope.
You're kidding.
It's moved a full card given in that match.
Nick Seeley's huge.
He totally moved the market.
We're huge,
This is
too.
what he did.
You're kidding.
No, I'm looking documented.
That's unbelievable.
It was 3.5.
I'm not calling you a liar.
$1.45
I'm just,
now.
yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. From 3.5 to 4.5.
And how many other spots in town book that? Book the bookings. Will MGM book that?
That I don't know. No, William Hill. I know what
won't?
MGM has exact score and bet to nil. To win to nil, excuse
Okay,
me.
right.
Ooh.
So you can bet the scoreless draw over there like yesterday. I don't think that's available anywhere else.
This guy is huge. Guy's moving the markets. He's something.
Did you get in?
Just wait till Wimbledon.
No. I know. Did you get in on 3.5
No,
over?
no, I did not.
Well, his wish is he wanted to see 4.5 with that juice, with the plus juice. He got it. Moved it a full card. Good for him.
What do you think today? I think you got to bet Switzerland on principle.
I'm taking a flyer. I'm going to do. I hit this the other day at 16-1.
Yes, I like this angle.
Portugal draw, and it came in. I got fortunate. Both goals were late in the respective halves. I'm going to take a flyer here. Some pizza money on the Mexico-Sweden match. I'll go Mexico first half, tie that in with a draw to where they can get one. They'll be ahead. They'll have that comfort zone, and then they'll control. That's going to be parking the bus up 1-0 if they get there. And then I wouldn't be surprised if, who cares if they allow one in the 85th minute, 90th minute.
I like it.
In added time, and they can walk out of there with a draw, still advance, and I win the bet at 14-1.
Funny,
small bet on that.
South Korea doesn't have a win, and they're still alive going into the final match. And as high as 16, 17-1 to win this sucker.
The whole thing's incredible. Mexico's been one of the best teams in this tournament, and yet they haven't advanced yet.
I mean, people think they're just going to be able to name their score today. And Nigel loves the lay in the goal and a half, and they're -2 at William Hill. And 3's the total over -150.
He expected an early goal from Germany, too.
Okay, and tomorrow, I'll give you one. So we thought you get a big effort out of Peru. Right. Morocco, same thing. I think Poland lays down tomorrow.
Okay.
Poland against Japan to start, and Colombia against Senegal. I think Nigel had Senegal to win the group, too. So he's loving life as well. Everything, he's on a roll. But Colombia and Senegal. Now, Colombia can get through with a win, and that's become a great group as well. But Poland, who FIFA rankings 8, I think they were, 0-2 so far. I think they lay down.
On the future board here, I want to say that they were 40 or 45-1. So they were supposed to be pretty good. It's all about the expectations here.
I think Argentina was -$8 to advance. What a sweat that was if you bet that. Wow. They were a huge price to advance. And the one match, 11 o'clock Pacific's tough because Belgium expected to sit guys, and England might do the same thing, and because they're both through. And Tunisia, Panama doesn't mean anything, and Panama might. I'll tell you that guy. No, they scored 2 goals. He's dead. But Costa Rica still hasn't scored in the tournament. But Panama, maybe plus 350. I know they're bad, but so was Saudi Arabia.
No, right?
And they got the win.
Very true.
But that's a strange match to close things out. Yes, tomorrow.
It is wild though how things change from the first match to the second to the third in the group stage, and how the whole handicap is it's totally different then.
Yep.
So it could create more of an open game. They don't really a little bit more loosey goosey. The late games so far. We'll go with the local time here. The 11 o'clock Pacific start on Monday and Tuesday, and how they have come down to the wire.
Bonkers.
Come on. It's just been fantastic. It's Follow the Money, Sirius XM 204, VSiN.com, and the VSiN app. We'll get to some in-pocket plays coming up next.
If you still have a dial, don't touch it. Keep it right here on Sirius XM 204 for more Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard.
Visit VSiNHotels.com for the best hotel rates at the most desirable destinations in the U.S. and beyond. New York City, Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles, even an hotel and casino, home of the VSiN studio. In fact, book your trip to Vegas through VSiNHotels.com and stop by the studio here at the tip of the Strip while in town. Uncle Brent and his guys in the desert will be here waiting. That's VSiNHotels.com for discounts of up to 30% off. As Brent Musburger always says, cashing tickets is what it's all about. And that's what PropSwap is all about, too. PropSwap.com is a new online marketplace where you could buy and sell sports betting tickets. Looking for a good deal on a futures bet? Search PropSwap's listings for a second chance on that ticket and complete the purchase with your credit card. If you have a bet that's also close to cashing, post the ticket to PropSwap and find a buyer to lock in that money before it's too late. Cash out, cash in, go to PropSwap.com or call 1-844-PropSwap to get started. Void where prohibited.
If you didn't catch VSiN last week, here's some of what you missed.
This year's big addition to the Super Contest, that is our new Super Contest contest app. Those that are in the state of Nevada will be able to submit their weekly selections via the contest app and not having to make a trip each and every week into the Superbook. Well, for security reasons, we didn't want to be having the Super Contest on the betting app. So it's a separate app which will be only used for the Super Contest.
Because NBA GMs and people around it aren't the brightest guys. I mean, look at the contracts they give. That tells you what they're about. I mean,
good point.
That to me is the dumbest thing. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That is the dumbest thing that I have heard coming out of a draft since I don't know, one of those football players got asked about his mother years ago. I can't believe, like, I say all the time, like, Miles Plumlee was given 4 years, $52 million. That tells you all you need to know about NBA general managers and their assistants and everybody else. So,
a lot of these games can come down to penalty kicks. And I'm always curious that this never gets talked about more.
Overall, a penalty kick is converted, whether it's in-game or shootout, roughly 77-ish% of the time, about 3 out of 4, give or take, for the most part. And even some of the best players, or the people who take the most penalty kicks, like Messi, is roughly 77% for his career.
I believe you like the Blue Bombers in this spot. This line opened 2. It's gone up a point to 3 after Winnipeg looked like the clearly superior team, I think, a week ago.
Well, Montreal, if you're going to be backing Montreal, I have to warn all the listeners here that you are talking about a team that has, you're going in front of a 0-12 straight up an ATS run that the Montreal Alouettes are on going back to last season. That's how bad this organization